Well, thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk about the Elite Remedy. It's new for 2021, so I want to go over some of the stats and just kind of go over some of the pros and cons and things that I found. I've been shooting this thing for a couple of months now, and I just want to kind of go over it. So I'll go over quickly the stats, and you can find all this stuff on their website. I'm sure I'll post some screenshots of that. But it is a little bit longer axle than some of the Encore that I believe was last year. It's 34 inches axle, weighs in at 4.6 pounds, has 6 3/8 brace height, and adjustability to have a draw from anywhere from 24 to 31 inches. Also has adjustable let-off rates percentages. You can adjust anywhere from 70 to 90% let-off depending on what you want. It's advertised at 331 feet per second IBO speed. Currently, when I went on the website, looks like you can get this thing in about 14 different colors. One unique thing about this is they offer a hunt guarantee, and as well as a lifetime guarantee. I couldn't find on the website what the lifetime guarantee warranty or the lifetime warranty covers, but the hunt guarantee is pretty well spelled out. If you take your Elite on a hunt and have some sort of failure, you can contact them and they will get a bow ready for you with a sight, a rest, a D-loop, and a peep sight, and ship that thing to you overnight so that you can finish your hunt, which is really some awesome customer service there. So super impressed with that. Like I said, I've been shooting this thing for a while. I have another video that I'll put a link in the description of sighting in a CBE Tactic Hybrid. So this is my first slider. So I have a video kind of going over all of that on how I use that, but really I've got this thing to where I'm shooting at 100 yards. I would obviously never shoot at animals 100 yards away, but it's really fun to shoot those distances, and what it does is it helps hone you in on all the little details, those nuances that you see at 100 yards are just magnified at 100 yards, so it helps hone you in on those closer shots. So honestly, I really kind of urge you to start shooting farther distances. Also, I'm using a homemade stabilizer. I have a link in the description of that as well. But I do want to talk about some of the pros and cons that I have for at least Elite and this bow in specific. It does have this set technology, and the set technology stands for Simplified Exact Tuning. And what that does is, so when you're trying to do some minor adjustments, instead of making these minor adjustments to your rest or your D-loop, what you can do, or I should say more your rest for left and right, is you can adjust the limb pockets. So you loosen this bolt here and then either turn this counterclockwise or clockwise, and it'll show you either left tear or right tear, and you will turn that counterclockwise or clockwise depending on where you need to be. And it has that set technology on the upper and lower limbs. So it's really neat. I'd love to tell you how much I've used it so far, but let's face it, I really didn't. When I got the bow, I really paper tuned within 3 or 4 shots using the set technology. Once I got my arrow rest lined up and put in and where I thought center shot should be, really just made a few adjustments using that set technology. So one of the other things is it does have machined limb pockets. It also has the tri-track design, and what that does is it has your main cam, and then it also has cable on the left and a cable on the right. And what that does, that's going to help distribute that load so that that cam doesn't want to lean left or right. Also, honestly, my biggest thing that I like on this is you can choose either having a cable stop or a limb stop. So the way this works is, and I'll show some close-ups of this cam. On this cam, they've got this track for your cables, and you can adjust this cable stop, so this will slide down and touch your cables as you draw back, or you can add this limb stop, which gives you a solid back wall, and that is my preference. I love a solid back wall versus a spongy one, but what it does is it allows you to choose and customize it to what you want. Whether you want that spongy back wall or you want a solid hard back wall, you have the options to do either one of those. Also, it has the adjustment for your draw. You can make adjustments on this cam here in 1/2 inch increments. And then by twisting this cam, and you don't need a bolt press or anything, you can just make those adjustments by taking out a couple of screws. Then you can also make some fine-tuned 1/4 inch adjustments using your stop here, which is really neat, to do some really super fine tuning. The roller cable slide also is adjustable left to right. Obviously, you want good vein clearance as you're coming through, so depending on the size of your veins, you can adjust that thing and kick that slide, the roller slide, all the way over as far as you need to. I also love this narrow grip, so it's a little bit narrower at the top than it is at the bottom, and it really has helped me with some of my torque issues. I used to torque the bow a lot, and this is a super comfortable grip, and really love what they've done with it. I come from a CNC background, and I can really appreciate all of the detailed machining that goes into this riser. It's definitely a lot of work and a lot of setup that goes into that. Can really appreciate all the work that goes into it for sure. Really have not seen any flaws in that one bit. I will tell you a couple of the cons that I have of this, and I guess they're more of pet peeves. One of the pet peeves that I have is they use socket head bolts and Torx drive. So now if I'm going out to the range, I'm going to need to keep 2 sets of wrenches with me. I need to keep a Torx drive and I need to keep hex, which isn't a whole lot more room, but it is just kind of a nuisance. I'm not sure why they didn't just stick with 1 drive, but I know when I took it in to my local pro shop to have them install a few things and do a little tuning it for me, they didn't even have the Torx drives out, so they had to go back in the back and get those. So it's just, like I said, it's just a pet peeve. Also, I'll talk about some of the clearance here, and I'll show maybe a close-up of that. This cable right here, I'm not sure why they decided that this cable needed to come so close to that bolt hole.
This seems unnecessarily close, that this cable comes to that screw, and it does that on the top and the bottom. There is a slight gap in there, but again, just not sure why they needed to do that. But here you can see all these holes here in the cam are for your adjustability and your draw length. One thing that also is a pet peeve of mine, like they have these different numbers, and then you have to consult the manual to see what those numbers equate to for draw length. Why they couldn't have just put the actual draw length as the number there, I'm not sure. Again, and then you can kind of see you've got Torx drive heads here. Those are just some of the downfalls I think that they could have improved on.
So that bolt is nearly touching the cable. I don't see any wear on it at this point, but it just seems awful close, like maybe they could have spaced that out a little bit more. Again, not an issue, but just something to look at in the future. The other thing, I was just shooting this thing today, and I've been shooting it for a few months. The cables, the string stop popped off on me today. Bummed at that. Not sure. I'll be contacting Elite tomorrow to see how we can fix that. Right now I got some electrical tape. I didn't want to stick glue on there at the moment, just because I don't know how this carbon fiber rod versus rubber, what kind of glue that I'm going to use, what it's going to do to that, and I want Elite to have the chance to resolve that problem for me. I'll kind of update the video, see how they handle that. But the reality is, let's talk about how it shoots. We can talk boring stats all day long, but everybody knows it all comes down to how it shoots. This bow lives up to its stats. so I've got to talk about the shootability of this thing. Elite boasts the shootability challenge, and they challenge you to go to your local bow shop and just shoot one. And I would tell you, I'm super impressed with it. I'm by no means a professional. This is really my third or fourth year really getting back into archery, but I got to tell you, this bow has made me a drastically better shooter. I think it's really forgiving, easy to set up. Like I said, it has a super firm, solid back wall, has a smooth draw cycle. I really have been super impressed with Elite so far.
I've got to get me one of those.
This laptop, not so much. So, had some fun shooting this thing. Used some crappy arrows, so I didn't get the greatest group, but gotta say, I've been able to shoot this thing out to 100 yards just 2 or 3 times so far. And the last time I shot my 3-shot grouping was about 6 or 7 inches at 100 yards. So super excited to be taking this thing out this year to some 3D courses and off to hunting season, and hope to have some success this year. So anyway, if you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.